I'm gone now. Hard to think of an easy way to start. It's over, give me what I've lost. Think of what I did today, how it's gonna be. I've got a bunch of real good reasons that you're never gonna see. You are consistently breaking me. All that I've forgotten is us. Us. Time's up, you're gone today. Nothing could make you stay. You are finished with me for now. Finished with me for now. Taking it all away.
Hello, it's me. I was wondering about the roads years it like to me to go over everything. They say the time's supposed to heal ya, but I ain't done much here. Hello, can you hear me? I'm in California dreaming about who we used to be when we were younger and free. I've forgotten how it felt when the world fell at our feet. There's such a difference between us and the media and mine. Hello from the other side. I must have called another time. 'Cause I'm good, sorry for breaking your heart, but it's so bad I really doesn't tear you apart anymore. So typical of me to talk about myself. I'm sorry. I hope that you will. Did you ever make it out of that town when nothing ever happens? It's no secret that the both of us are running out of time. So hello from the other that I'm trying to tell you I'm sorry for breaking your heart, but it don't matter. Really doesn't tear you apart anymore. Ooh, anymore. Ooh, anymore. Ooh, anymore. Hello from the other side. I must have called another time. So good, sorry.
back in time, if I may, to when I was 15 years old. I was sitting in a jail cell waiting for trial for armed robbery and burglary. Been in a couple of weeks, and there was this steel door with one of those tiny little glass windows, and the glass had the wires that run through it so it couldn't be broken. And there was a clock out in the hallway, and I'd spend hours and hours every day just staring through that window with nothing to do in this jail cell, waiting for my trial and what was going to happen for the rest of my life. Was I going to remain locked up for years and years? Did I have a chance to get out? And one afternoon, there was some jingling of keys in the door. The door opened, and a man walked in. His name was Baxter Richardson. He was a school teacher, and he happened to be the father of my best friend's girlfriend, the girl he dated. And she went home and told her dad every day, "You gotta help Randy. He's in jail. David's best friend. He's locked up, you know." So he came to see me, and he told me, "You don't belong here. You're capable of great things." And I was like, obviously, you have no idea who you're talking to. I do belong here. I was a teenage alcoholic. I was a teenage drug addict. I had obviously made a lot of really poor choices, and they led to me being there in that jail cell. So I was telling him, "Hey, I appreciate the kind words, but you don't know what you're talking about." He said, "I do know what I'm talking about. I spoke to your teachers. They tell me your reading comprehension level is above college. They say you skip school for 3-4 weeks at a time, and then you come in and you ace a test. You're capable of doing great things." And I have to tell you, I was so desperate to believe him, I believed him. And because I believed him, it was true. Do you really get that? You know, if I didn't believe him, it wouldn't have been true. But because I believed him, it was true. And because that man came in my jail cell and told me that, is why I'm here right now talking to you. And if we haven't met before, my name is Randy Gage, and I'm here with my esteemed colleague, Jaime Lokier. And we're going to do something special today. We're going to take back the space, the leverage sales, direct selling, network marketing space. We're going to take it back from the crypto scams and the Ponzi schemes and the con artists. And so we're going to share with you 4 pillars about duplication and how to create growth. And we're doing this, and there's no charge for this. You guys know you're on here free. Hopefully you're getting the right language. We had a slide up. If you're looking for Spanish, that's on a different channel. English is on this channel. This room, I have like an industrial account for Zoom, but it only holds 2,500 people. We have more than 8,000 people who pre-registered. So we're broadcasting this all over the place. So it's on a couple of different Facebook pages. It's on a couple of different YouTube channels. It's all over. So we wanted to get, as you know, all you guys who registered. But because we had to do that, if you have people on your team, you can send them a link right now. Just text them, call them, "Hey, get on live." They don't even need to register. Just whatever Facebook page you're watching this on, tell them to go there. Whatever YouTube channel you're watching it on, tell them to go there, and they can be there. I will tell you, please set aside the next 90 minutes. because it will really be worth your time. We've got, we scheduled about 75 minutes, but in case it runs a little long, kill the distractions, focus on this, because we're here to really help you help your team, how to protect your team against those crypto scammers, how to get true duplication, and how to do what that school teacher did for me, which was recognize that I had potential and believe in me before I even believed in myself. So Jaime and I are here because we believe in you and we want to help you believe in your team. So Mr. Lokier, you want to kind of set the stage, what we're doing today, please?
Yes, my friend, thank you very much. I'm honored to be here with you and with all these amazing people that will help us to take back this industry that deserves a lot of love from all of us, that it changed the life of so many of us here. And just a quick note, I'm sorry with my Spanish-speaking friends. You know that most of what I do is in Spanish, but this time we need to interact with Randy, or we're going to share some ideas between the two of us. So we need to understand each other. That's why I need to speak in English on this edition. And of course, I hope my English-speaking friends will forgive me because it's not my main language, but I think you will understand everything we are saying here. So why we are doing this, Randy already told you, because we need to have a safe space, again, a space where you and your team can learn from people who actually build something important in this industry and people who actually understand what is duplication and how it works. And we decided that the first step is talking about recruiting, because that's where everything can break apart. You know, you can recruit thousands of people based only on emotion, and you can recruit tens of thousands of people based on false expectations. But recruiting, and actually not just recruiting, but building a machine that recruits continuously based on truth, based on principles that actually duplicate, that's something that only a few people understand, and that's something that you need to understand to actually have the best year of your career. And we really think that network marketing right now needs to help as much people as possible. People are desperate for new opportunities and to have additional income. And that's something that you could bring to them, but you need to do it on the right path, doing it the right way. And that's what we want to talk here, how to build that outrageous recruiting, but with the right principles that can help you duplicate. So the goals on this session, first of all, is that you accelerate your duplication. We want you to go out of this session with all the tools you need to accelerate your duplication. Second, you need to be able to build out your team infrastructure. You will need that infrastructure so it can be effective without you being on the scene. That's the only way you can duplicate your team. Third, we want you to be able to create the foundation for a really strong, solid growth for the next 5 years. It's not just about 2023, it's about what's going to happen on your team for the next decade. But let's start with the next 5 years. What you will learn here will help you achieve that. Next, we want you to actually decide doing this in a serious way. We want you to actually take with you what's the responsible, right way of doing this for the long term. So those are the goals we want to share with you. And for those of you that will stay until the end, we have a couple surprises. First, we will launch a new tool that you will be able to use, you and your team, free tool that will help you on the long run, a tool that will be the responsible for all of us to take all the profession back on the right track. And then we will give you a ebook, a free ebook, which is the 7 thermonuclear tips for recruiting in 2023. So both of those things you will get if you stay until the end with us. So be sure to have those 90 minutes. Now 80 minutes we have left. And of course, we just want to remind you 2 very basic rules that we will have in place every time we will be together. The first one is that you need to be respectful to others. We have people from many companies and everyone is here to edify the whole profession. So you need to be respectful with everyone. And of course, you can't advertise your company. If you are trying to advertise your company, to sell your product, to tell that your company is better than others, you try to recruit someone, you will be banned for 5 years from everything we are doing on this platform. So please, this is very important. We are here to edify the whole industry, and we want you to be part of that philosophy. So with that being said, we're going to talk about the 4 pillars to create that outrageous recruiting machine. And we're going with my friend Randy Gage for the first pillar.
All right. So pillar number 1 is lock down your duplication infrastructure, or lock down your duplication system. Here's what I will tell you. If you don't know my story, I have this amazing story, right? I've made millions and millions of dollars as a distributor on bonus checks, not with backroom deals, not with cooked leg situations. I mean, just in honest, hardworking bonus check. But more importantly, I lost money for 5 years. I struggled for 5 years, dropping out of companies, joining other ones, became an MLM junkie for a while. I thought, well, if I could make $1,000 a month in 10 different companies, that would be $10,000 a month, which was the biggest amount of money in the entire universe I could imagine. I just had so much struggling. And after 5 years, I said, okay, I've got to learn how to recruit. The people who make big money, they do meetings. They stand up at the front of rooms and they make presentations. We have an express. Back then, we used to say, the person with the marker makes the most money. These days, we'd say the person with the clicker makes the most money. So I found a restaurant that would give me their back meeting room for free. If people just came in and bought a coffee and piece of cake or pie or something, and they gave us the room for free. And I started doing presentations literally every night of the week, Monday through Friday. I had my Miami Vice suit, and I had a whiteboard, and I was drawing circles, and I was sponsoring people. I learned how to recruit. And I put 30 people in a month. And then I'm ready to order the Lambo because, 30 people, they're each going to get 5, then, and then they're each going to get 5. But month number 2, 27, 28 out of the 30 were dropping out. So I said, well, those people are stupid. They're ignorant. They're lazy. I'll just throw in another 30 people, right? If this relates to you, get in the comments. We can't see on all the different pages now, but we're going to definitely look afterward. Everybody, please just check in and say, hey, where you're watching from. And if this relates to you, if you struggled at the start, I want to hear about it in the comments, please. Share it with the community here. So I realized, okay, wait a minute. Now I'm sponsoring like crazy and I'm still not making money. Why? Because everybody's dropping out. And I recognize I have got to learn to do the business in a way that the people I bring in can get the same results I do. And that's what became I really, really did some work. I'm a pretty, I'm a very rational, logical, analytical guy. So I structured, okay, what is my duplicable system going to be? And I created which became my first book, and it became the album, How to Make at Least $100,000 a Year in Network Marketing, which was the biggest selling training album in the history of network marketing. I developed the Escape the Rat Race tape, which was the biggest selling audio recruiting tool in the business. And it really started working. And that turned into my book, turned into my seminars. And, I've manifested it in my career. And, I would stack my record against anybody. I believe I have trained more millionaires in this business than anybody alive. Because I could just go company after company after company of people that the top income earners would say, I follow Randy's book. I follow Randy's system. I want to share some basic outline, the infrastructure of that with you guys tonight. And then Jaime has some really sexy other stuff that he's going to be sharing. So by the time you get done 75 minutes from now, you are going to have an arsenal of tools that you're going to be able to use to really create outrageous
recording in
recruiting.
progress.
We forgot to record until now. Is that what I'm hearing? Or is that just because I see the recording just started? I hope it was recording on the other ones.
It's recorded on YouTube.
Okay, at least somewhere. All right, good. So, all right. So here's the thing now. This is one of these nuance areas, because some companies have set up really strong infrastructure for recruiting. If they've hired Jaime or myself or Ann Feinstein, consultants who help them build out systems, they have those in place. A lot of companies don't. So if the company has some stuff in place, great, there's less you have to do. If the company doesn't have that stuff in place, then a team leader needs to make this stuff happen. And I don't want to hear anybody crying in the comments and say, oh, my company doesn't do anything. It's, good. Because you know what? The weaker your company is, the stronger the leaders become. We did an amazing retreat a couple of years back. We called it the $1 billion weekend or mastermind or something. Art Jonak put it together, and we had just the top people from, 15 different companies, and we all went to Orrin Woodward's place, and we just brainstormed, and we called it the $1 billion retreat because we produced more than $1 billion a year in sales. And one night we're just sitting around after dinner chatting about our sponsors, and we realized like every single person in the room had a horrible or weak sponsor, and that made us all greater leaders, stronger leaders. And that's what you're going to see with the setting up your system, right? But let me give you some components. But here's the key thing. You start with, how do I automate? How do I systematize? And how do I scale? Because those are, that's the philosophy you got to go by. You can't spend 2.5 hours with every new distributor you recruit, teaching them how to do their list and do their order and work the back office. You got to automate it. You got to make it so it scales. So you could sponsor 10 people in a week. They all could get that training, and then they could go to work. And then you could find out who's the serious ones and really help them one-on-one. So some things you're going to need, very important: standardized presentation, meaning an outline, not verbatim word for word presentation, but an outline that everybody follows. And this should include kind of, what's the company story? What's the storyline that weaves it all together? There's so many companies, they started because two guys were sitting at a bar and one guy said, hey, we should start an MLM company, and the guy knocks back a shot. Yeah, what should we sell? No, what's the story? What's the passion of the founder? What happened in her life or his life that caused them to want to start a company? And then what's the product story? Right? Not just a list of the product. What's the story that weaves it all together? This should be built into a standardized presentation outline. You need a new distributor orientation. That's that training I talked about. So you can scale. It needs to be recorded. Maybe have a workbook that goes with it. So you can just send someone a link. As soon as you enroll them, here, go here, do this new distributor orientation. Call me as soon as you're done. Next element is the event structure. And particularly, because you're going to have recruiting events, you're going to have training events, recognition. Jaime's going to cover a lot on the recruiting stuff next. So I'm going to leave that for him. Now, here's the big picture, what I call the candidate pathway. It starts at the top of the funnel. You have to pre-qualify prospects. And then you have to put them into the pathway, and it has to divide. One pathway should be for the products. One pathway should be for the business, because people will make that decision. There will be people you talk to, they have no interest in doing the business, but they could be helped by your product or service line. So you would put them in the customer track if they didn't have an interest in the business. If they do have an interest in the business, then you're going to put them in the business track. So that's what we call the candidate pathway. And then at each step, you have a pre-qualification step, you have a qualification stage, then we break them into the two different ways they go. And then we have a concept we call the ladder of escalation. We want that every time you put a candidate in front of a presentation, it escalates. It's a bigger deal than it was the time before that, right? So it might be a one-on-one, and then it goes to a home meeting, then it goes to a live stream, or it goes to a hotel meeting, or a Facebook that has 2,000 people on it. Each time they look, it should be a bigger deal. It escalates. And then you need tools all the way through that. And at each step in the pathway, there should be a tool. So pay attention. Somebody want to write these in the comments? It would be really cool if you did. Here's the tools you need. A mass market recruiting piece. And this is physical. This is actually something like a booklet or a brochure that you could leave in an airplane seat back pocket, or leave 10 of them on the table when you went to the accountant or the dentist or something. A teaser video, meaning to pre-qualify. Usually these are like 90 seconds, 2 minutes to find out which pathway are they interested in. A full-length opportunity presentation should do the whole thing, the products, the business, the lifestyle benefits. A product line video for, again, the people who are just interested in the customer thing, or the business people who need more details. A lot of you work in wellness companies, health companies, right? You might want a special video just for athletes on the products you have that are special for athletes. Or, if you're a cosmetic company, you might want a line just for makeup artists, or a line just for, a video just for estheticians. You might want a video just for lay people who want to know, how do I use these products at home? How can I make myself beautiful before I go to the ballet, right? Then this presentation, right? We talked about a presentation video. You also should have a flip chart version of that, or a one sheet. And you should also have a PowerPoint or keynote slide deck, so people can use those for streaming presentations. A product catalog is vital, right? Because, and I mean printed one, You know, everybody's like, we don't have to kill trees anymore. Everything's digital. Now, if you want to build a successful, really create exponential growth, you need some physical tools that you can send people home with. And a product catalog is a huge one. And then in terms of how you make money, you need 2 documents. And again, physical. One is the legal comp plan brochure. It says, to be a corporate director, you must have 4,000 PV, 2,000 must be in one leg. You need at least 2 people qualified, all the legalese stuff, because you need that to stay legal. But then you need a second piece, which is what I call the informal, how you earn with XYZ company. And this should be a marketing piece, conversational. Here's how you qualify for the free bonus car program. Here's the exotic trip program we have and how you get that. And it breaks down that. And then in some cases, you need some individual product line videos. For some of you, you're in companies with a lot of products and a lot of different product lines. So you might have some videos like that. But those things, all those tools, right, they fit into the candidate pathway. And that's where duplication lives, because you have to get away. A lot of you are great presenters, and you can sit down in a Starbucks with someone and you could do a 2-hour presentation, ice cold, with no preparation, you know, but that can't be duplicated. If you're speaking to a prospect, if your lips are moving and you're talking to a prospect, you need to be using one of these tools on the list, because that's, you know, when you do that amazing 2-hour presentation, they're going to say, Sarah, that was amazing. I think you're going to do great in this, but that was really interesting. Let me tell you a pro tip. Whenever somebody tells you that was very interesting, you're dead, okay? Because that means they're not going to join. They're going to say, that looks very interesting. I think it's a great business for you, but I don't think it'll work for me. Why? Because they say, I can't do a 2-hour presentation like that. But when you show, you know, when you take out your tablet and you hit play, and you show them a video presentation on the tablet, they're saying, that I can do. And just a little teaser for the future. One of the things Jaime and I are going to do is we're going to create some of those generic tools for some of you guys who are in companies that they just don't have some of this stuff. We're going to create some generic ones that you'll be able to use to get the same powerful type of results. All right, so that's pillar number 1, the foundational one. You got to build out that infrastructure. So somebody needs to be able to join on your 87th level and look and say, okay, that's the process I follow. That's the tools I use at each step in the process. Now, I told you a big part of that is events. So Jaime's going to share some thoughts about that.
So now that you have the first pillar, which is all that infrastructure of tools, now the second pillar is that you need to tighten up your event infrastructure. Events are really a fundamental part of the recruiting process, but it's not just about doing events, because if you are doing events and that's the way you handle it, whenever I want, I do an event, it's something that people can't predict. And if they can't predict them, then they can't duplicate them. On the other hand, if people know that this is what happens every day and this is what happens every week, and it happens on the same place at the same time, then every time they have a prospect or a candidate, they don't need to call you and say, hey, Maria, listen, when do we have the next weekly event? You know, that helps your team to actually move faster and teach faster to the rest of the team what they need to do. Because if I know that my weekly event is every Thursday at 8 in the night, 8 p.m. on the Marriott or on this Zoom room, then it's something that I can learn easy and I can teach easy. And that's where you have duplication. Now, I learned this at the beginning of my career. I must admit I was very, very lucky with this. And this was one of the reasons why I got to build a 60,000 people team very fast, because I swear to God, it's not false humble. I don't know how you say that. I really feel it was a lucky strike, because I had amazing mentors at the beginning of my career. I remember that the first mentors I had, it was a couple of Israeli guys that they used to be on the army in Israel. So, you know, they were very tough with us, but we used to learn how to do this without any doubt. So I remember that when I was starting my career, they told us that the person who would bring more people to the big events was the person who was going to earn the most money the next year. So I went to them and I asked them, okay, you want me to bring as many people as possible to the event we are having in 3 months, but I don't know how to do that, because when I call people, they tell me, oh, I can't go because my daughter will have her graduation that day. So everyone has an excuse why not to come to the events. And please let me know in the comments that it happens to you too, and I'm not the only one that has excuses for every call I do to ask people to go to the events. So I was in this situation. I told him, I'm committed to be the one that brings more people to the event, but you need to teach me how to do it. And he told me that's very easy. If you try to bring as many people as possible to the big event, you won't have anyone there. You need to bring as many people as possible to the monthly event, so you have people for the yearly event. Okay, but how do I do that? That's very easy. You need to bring as many people as possible to the weekly event, so you have people for the monthly event. Okay, so how do I do that? That's very easy. You need to bring as many people as possible to the daily event, so you have people for the weekly event. And actually, that's what I did, and it worked amazing. So I built for me and for my team like a ladder of events. And that's what you want to have very clear, so you can teach this to your team. So I'm going to share with you my white screen, my whiteboard, to show you how it works. Okay, voy a compartir pizarrón. You have like a ladder. Okay, and each one of these is bigger than the previous event. So let's say that here you start with the daily events. What are the daily events? The presentations everyone in your team does to bring candidates. Okay, here you have presentations. They can be presentations for product, for selling products, or they can be presentations to actually sponsor people. Okay, both would be daily activities. If you have a lot of daily activities, then you will have a lot of people to bring to the weekly events. So what are the best weekly events? And we are only speaking about recruiting, okay? We're not speaking here about trainings for your team or sessions to decide what's the best color for your web page. Here we are only speaking about recruiting. So the best weekly events you can do are I don't know what happened there, but I hope you remember the ladder. There you are. So the best events you can do are follow-up events. Okay, and those follow-up events are the secret weapon of my whole growth, and I know it's one of the secret weapons of Brand Engage too, because we've been teaching this for decades, okay? It's a weekly event that you do to help everyone with the people they have on follow-up. And why this is such a good tool? It's an amazing tool because it helps you help everyone without making them dependent on you. If you are doing the presentations for everyone, then they have no reason to learn how to present the business and the products. But if they need to present the opportunity and they need to present the products with the tools that Randy mentioned to their candidates, and you only help them on the follow-up once a week, then they won't be dependent because they need to learn the basic skills. And that's what you want from your team, because if they are dependent, they will never be leaders. It's like with your family. If you do everything for your son, for your daughter, they will never be independent. They will never lead anyone else. So the weekly events help you with this. You help them have results, but they are responsible for their daily activities. Now, they are also amazing because they help you build a solid teamwork culture. If you have your team meeting once a week, they start knowing each other and they start finding friends and they start helping each other. So, of course, that builds the teamwork culture that helps you build a greater movement. Now, the third reason why these weekly meetings are so amazing is because that's where you can find the new leaders. That's the place where this week you tell Pedro that he will do a testimonial, and next week you tell Samantha that she will be in charge of the music, and that's where you can start giving responsibilities to the people. And then those who are growing, you can give them stage time, and those who are growing more, you can give them also bigger responsibilities, like being in charge of the whole event. And that's how you develop new leaders on the field. And the last reason why these weekly events are so amazing is because they help you solve any objection from your candidates. Now, look, for years, I would pay for trainings on how to solve objections, how to handle objections. And I got very good at them. I was sure that if you would put in front of me any person in the world, it doesn't matter who he is, it doesn't matter if he's the Pope Francis, I would handle every objection they have, and I would got them to sign to my team. The problem is that that doesn't duplicate. But with these weekly events, you have one way to handle every objection. Let's say your candidate says, I don't have the money. Then you can tell them, you know what? Thanks for sharing that with me. Let's do something. Come with me to a weekly training or to a weekly event, depends on how you want to handle it. You see what we are doing, and I can introduce you to someone who didn't have the money, so he can tell you how he solved that problem. So I'm bringing people to this event, and the event is the one that solves all the objections. If they say, you know what, I need to speak to my wife first. You know what, thanks for sharing this with me. Let's do something. Come with me to a weekly training we have, and then you can see what we're doing, and I can introduce you to someone whose wife wasn't okay with this business, so he can tell you what he did, so his wife now is the most excited with the business. So this works with any objections. As you can see, I'm in love with these weekly trainings because they are an amazing tool. They are really the best thing you can do. The best thing you can do to help your team. And I really suggest you add this to your ladder of events. Now, there are two ways you can do this weekly event. One of them is just like an event, like a bigger presentation. So if everyone already talked about the product, you will go deeper into explaining the product. If everyone on the presentation already talked about the compensation plan, then here you will explain everything about the compensation plan. That's one way of doing it. But the other one is doing it like a training. It's a training to bring prospects. It's a training to help on the follow-up, but it's a training. It's a training where you will teach people about the products, about the compensation plan, about personal development, about leadership, and about testimonials. You will have testimonials. And because it's a training, your team will want to be part of this. Because if you only do bigger presentations, your team will start feeling like they are losing their time. Of course, that's not true, but that's what they're going to feel. But if you're doing training, then your team will want to go there, and the prospects will feel more open, because if they know that they are going to a training and not to a selling session, they will go open to learn and not closed for anyone to sell them anything. So this is something you should have on your weekly strategy, and it could be in person or in Zoom. Or actually, I think that in the future, the best teams, the bigger teams, will have both. We'll have one in-person meeting in each city where they have teams, and one main follow-up session for everyone who is on Zoom. Then you have the monthly events, which usually are for recognition and for deeper training. And then you have the quarterly events, which usually are the country or world big events. And then you have the yearly event. And this yearly event is usually the company's worldwide event, where you want to bring everyone who didn't sign up before, because you did the daily presentation, and if someone didn't sign, you bring them to the follow-up presentation, and if they didn't sign, then you bring them to a monthly recognition event, and if they don't sign there, you bring them to a big country event, and if that doesn't work, then you can bring them with you to the worldwide event. And if they don't sign here, then you can sign them to an asylum, because they are crazy. No one goes to a worldwide event without signing up. That's only my opinion. But well, you need to have this, and you need to be very clear on what's the day of the week, every week where you are doing the weekly one, and what's the day of the month. For example, the first Saturday every month that you are doing the monthly one. And you know that the first weekend of March, you will have this big event. You need to know this in advance, at least 6 months in advance. You need to have this very tight, very clear, so your team can learn it and teach it. If you have this in place, then the duplication, not just the recruiting will skyrocket, but the duplication will be much bigger, because it won't depend on you, it will depend on the events. So that's the second pillar. And now, Randy Gage, do you want to add something to this, or we are moving to the third pillar?
Well, I think the bonus lesson for everybody this night is you don't have to have great handwriting to be successful in this business.
That's in my country, that's called bullying, and Penalized.
So for all you guys watching, say, well, I can't do the presentations. I don't know how they draw on those boards or on the. This is one of the most successful people in the world. And look how he writes. So take hope from that. All right. So track 3, pillar number 3, it isn't even like a list of bunch of things. It's not a mechanism. What we're really talking about is transforming your recruiting culture. And when I say transforming the recruiting culture, we're going to transform it from passive recruiting to active recruiting. Now, let's break down what that means. Because some of you think, I've got this amazing recruiting happening on my team, but it's actually passive recruiting. And if you could change that culture, you would grow exponentially faster than you are right now. Because the changes you make in the culture, they go system-wide. They go team-wide, right? Let's suppose you got one of the dinosaurs in the room, right? You know, the people who've been in the business since the 80s, and they say, I don't ever sign up customers. You know, I sell the big pack for recruiting and, leaders. I don't mess around with customers. Those people are, they're becoming extinct in the business, but some of them are still around. And you'll see they create that culture, and everybody in their team does the same thing. They only look for builders. They don't build any customer base, and they have dramatically lower volume. It's much harder for them to duplicate. And of course, if they're in any first world country, they're probably going to get shut down soon because you can't operate that way anymore. That worked in the 80s. It isn't going to work today. Then you transform the culture where people say, hey, everyone has to have at least 3 customers. Well, if you have 500 people in your team and they go from 500 people who just use the products themselves to 500 people who each get 3 retail customers, my goodness, what happens to your bonus check when it goes to 5 customers? When it goes to 10? We have people, I was looking at we got some real superstars in the business I was looking on a couple of the pages at who's in the chat. We have people that, with organizations that's build 100 customers per distributor, right? When you create that kind of culture, like I say, what you do for the first people on your front line, that's what's going to duplicate in the other lines. And this makes exponential difference. So instead of doing 10,000 points for your team that you're getting paid on, you're doing 75,000 points that you're getting paid on. Instead of doing 300,000 points that you're getting overrides on, you have 2 million points that you get overrides on. So when you make this pillar important, when you really practice this pillar, which is transform from passive recruiting to active recruiting, it will revolutionize your business and particularly your income. And it's going to allow you to create that legacy walk away income, which I think is the sexy, the sexy part of our business is the leverage and the ability to create passive residual walk away income. And this is all about building culture. Beginning people, they're only focused on tactics. As a leader, you've got to create culture. So what do I mean by passive recruiting? Let's say you're in a health wellness company. Your team, when they're out there in the real world, meeting real people, and then somebody says, oh man, I'm so tired. I never get enough sleep every day in my office at 3 p.m. My head is laying on the desk. I have to go get 2 cappuccinos to stay awake. boom, your people know exactly what to do. They start talking about your energy bar or your energy drink, and they start selling product. But that's not active, that's passive. They waited for the candidate to practically beg them for a presentation. Same thing with the business. Your people are out there in the real world, meeting real people in real life, and somebody says they work for Amazon, the UK. I just got an alert. Amazon in the UK is closing 3 warehouses, right? So hundreds, perhaps thousands of people are going to be out of work, right? So let's say someone on your team meets them and then, oh my God, my job, I think I'm going to get laid off, or man, they're laying off people at my place. I don't know. Boom, your people know what to do. They start recruiting them, telling them about the business opportunity that they have. That's still passive recruiting. What is active recruiting? This is when you build it into your training, you build it into your new distributor orientation, or, new member orientation, or fast start training, whatever you call it. And you say, okay, every week you're going to work at least 10, 12 hours of building the business. And every week in your planner, you schedule a time for inviting. Because remember, we like to use third-party tools because that's where the duplication lives. So what do your people do? What do they need to do to create exponential growth? They have to get candidates in front of presentations. That's the single most important. In English, we say rainmaker activity, meaning it brings the rain, it produces income. We want our people to focus on rainmaker activities. And the, actividad más importante is getting people in front of presentations. So that means when you transform the culture, you have it built in the system that they have. To this day, I'm old-fashioned. I like a planner, a paper planner. So, they actually, whether they do it in paper or their phone or tablet, but they schedule 60 minutes or 90 minutes for inviting, and they do that every week. So it's an ongoing thing. There's always candidates being dropped into the candidate pathway, getting pre-qualified, getting qualified, and then going into the system. So that's what we're talking about, is you create that culture where everyone has that in their calendar. And one of the things you should do as an empowering leader to really help your people is, when you first train them, is the first couple of weeks actually get in their planner with them and say, okay, listen, if you're going to be successful in the business, you need to give me, 10 or 12 hours a week. So let's look at your planner for the next 2 weeks and let's see how you're scheduled. And then you make sure they have time in there where they're, inviting people. And that'll be sending text, sending messaging apps. I've had great success with email invitations. It's not so much calling people anymore because nobody calls anyone, right? If you call a Gen Z person on the phone without texting them first, they'll report you for a hate crime, right? Because they're like, well, what are you calling me for? Why didn't you text me? So inviting has really switched to a lot of the texting and messaging, and a lot on social media, which Jaime is going to talk about in 47 and a half seconds from now. So you train them about doing those invitations. And then the other part of this transformation is you're moving people from just selling products to running their business like an entrepreneur. If you look at some of the people that are in the chat right now, they run multi-million-dollar international businesses. They run businesses that might do 2, 3, 5 million, sometimes more dollars a month in sales. And they're doing this without employees. They're home-based business like I am and Jaime is, and most of you in these rooms are. So they're running like the CEO of a big international conglomerate. They're doing it from home. But to do that, you've got to run it like an entrepreneur. And, you know, that's scheduling and planning, having the infrastructure, having the system. And as Jaime promised you, we got a couple of resources we're going to tell you at the end that will really help you in that way. So let's get to the fourth pillar, and then don't go anywhere after the fourth pillar, because you need to know we have something special for you, free, and there's going to be assignments. When Jaime and I do training, it isn't just, hey, watch the talking head and then go back and forget about everything. We're going to actually give you assignments to do to actually make this stuff stick and really get going in your business. All right. But anyway, Jaime, pillar number 4, please.
The last pillar we want to talk to you about is the social media. Integrate social media much stronger. And this is something that some of you already did. And those of you who already did this are the one having amazing results growing. But that doesn't mean that it works on the long run, because most people who are teaching how to use social media do it in a way that doesn't duplicate. So of course, because you have this way of getting to a lot of people on all the digital platforms, you can recruit thousands of people, but that doesn't mean that they can do what you are doing. And that's what I want to talk to you about, how to actually do it in a way that duplicates, not just that works. For example, when this trend started many years ago, I remember that there were special trainings on how to recruit online without having to do one single call. And I remember that I bought a $4,000 info product back then. Now, of course, that right now that doesn't scare anyone. We're used to it. But when Facebook started, paying $4,000 for videos and one book that was printed on a house printer, it was something ridiculous. And I did it because I was desperate. I really wanted to learn how to bring people without calling. And I learned how to do it. I really learned how to bring people. I sponsored a lot of people that way, but none of them stayed more than 1 month, because they easily understood that unless they were willing to pay a lot or they were willing to learn a lot of skills, they wouldn't have the results I was having. So that's what we want to change here. We want to find something that works, but that your people can follow. And for that, there are 2 very important concepts or principles. Remember, we're trying always to talk about principles because the tools change. Today, we are using TikTok and Instagram and YouTube, but tomorrow we will have something else, okay? In a couple years, maybe we will have holograms, or we will have some implant on our ear that we will just say, hey, tell the presentation to the person I have in front of me, and the chip will tell the presentation without you having to do anything. And you can choose that you want the voice of Darth Vader on that presentation. And I don't know, the tools will change, but the principles are forever, okay? So there are 2 principles that you want to integrate into your social media strategy. The first one is what in English you call DMO, Daily Method of Operation. If you want this to duplicate, you need a very simple daily method of operation. In other words, you want a document that states what your team needs to do every day. Because most of the people know how to use social media, but also most of the people don't know how to attract prospects or how to attract customers. If you have a daily method of operation, at least they will know what are the action steps they need to do every day. So for example, what would be a DMO I would use right now, January 10, 2023? And the tools will change, but this is an example of what I would do today. A method of operation today would look like this. Step number 1, every day, post at least one reel in Instagram, and the same, you post it in TikTok. And I know, because before some of you start writing, but you are crazy, the algorithm in TikTok and Instagram is not the same, and it will work in one, but it won't work in the other. Before that, let me tell you, I understand that if you would do different video for each platform, it would work better, but it would duplicate less because you are asking your team to do 2 different videos every day instead of 1. So for a DMO, I would go for the simple route, which is do one video, one short video, and you post it in TikTok and on Instagram. Why? Because that's what brings you to a new audience. Okay? The Reels is what the platform shows to new audiences. Then step number 2, every day you post at least one story, because the story is what keeps your audience close to you. If you see, you have different goals for each of the different types of content. So the reel brings people, the story keeps your people close. Step number 3, find 5 people online who are putting comments on a group that you belong or on a friend's profile, because the friends of your friends are your new friends. So maybe your friends already know what you're doing and they already know what's your network marketing company, but their friends are not yet part of your contact list, and you want to start conversation with 5 people that have something in common with you. You can find them on your friends' profiles, or you can find them on groups that you belong to. Number 4, from the 3 things you did first, you will have people following you every day. If you start commenting on someone else's comments and you start using Reels every day, you will start having new followers every day. So greet them. Every day you need to greet and welcome the new followers you have. And number 5, every day have 15 minutes to follow old conversations that you started before. If you do this every day, then you will start having traction. You will have, at the beginning, you will have 1 new person every day, and then 2 new followers every day, and then 5 new followers every day. Now, once a week, and this would be a weekly method of operation, not a daily method of operation, but every week you need to post 1 testimonial and 1 hook. What's a hook? A hook is a post that tells the people what are the benefits they could get from your product or your opportunity. So let's say you want to bring customers. Then you are with your product saying, I love my coffee because it helps me with my weight control. Okay? And I'm speaking about me. I'm not trying to sell you. I'm just saying I love this because it helps me. What does that do? It makes people ask. You've been working the whole week to bring new people. And once a week, when they see this, they ask you, the new people will ask, what's that? How can I get that? Not all of them, but if you every day have new people, some of them will ask about this. The same with the testimonials. People will ask about that. It's very important that you read all the policies and procedures of your company regarding social media, because every company has different rules about what you can say and what you can't say, especially because of regulators. Okay, so be mindful about it, read all those policies and procedures, and be sure that when you are putting testimonials or these hooks, you have this in mind. Okay, so this is an example of a daily and weekly method of operation that works amazing. If you have a document with this, you will be 5 steps ahead of everyone else on social media, on working on social media. And the second thing is that you need specific tools for social media. And the difference between the tools for social media and the tools that Randy mentioned before is that the tools that are part of the main infrastructure, those you change them once a year. But usually you use the same tools all the time. And for social media, you want to create new tools all the time because social media moves faster. So you can do a flyer with all the benefits of your product this week, and all your team can use that. And next week, you do a video about how beautiful you are having fun with your team on an event. And that's a short video that all your team can use on their social media. So you want to be mindful about every week doing different flyers, pictures, memes. Memes work amazing. Of course, short videos that all your team can use. Because if you are only doing videos about you speaking to your audience, your team won't be able to use them. But if you go to canva.com and you design something generic that everyone can use in your team, then you will have much more results and you will have much more duplication, which is what we are trying to do here. And speaking of tools, we want to tell you about a new tool that we are very excited with. Really, this is the main project we are having in our lives, both of us, because as Randy said at the beginning, the whole industry has a problem. We are filled with people trying to teach your team stuff that doesn't work because they never did network marketing, or people who are just training your team so they can pitch them a new shitcoin later or a new pyramid scheme later. And we need to take the industry back. We need your help to have a place, a safe place where your team and everyone's team can have the right information and the right tools that actually work. So we are building what we called Duplication Nation. And you can go right now to duplicationnation.com. You can see this on your screen right now, duplicationnation.com. And you can select if you want all the content in English or you want all the content in Spanish. And everything you will do here and everything you will see here is both in English and in Spanish. And here you will have many tools over time. But right now we have something very special, which is a bootcamp. Okay, here you can see MLM Bootcamp. If you go there, you have a 3-week bootcamp. Here you can read it, 3-week bootcamp with the most important information you need to actually have a solid growth. You can learn here how to bring prospects. You can learn here how to bring customers. You can learn here how to do events. We know that we spoke about things that maybe you have questions about, but here you will answer those questions on this MLM Bootcamp, and it's totally free. And if you sign to this, okay, here you only need to register with your name and your best email. If you sign up to this, immediately you will receive also the ebook, the free ebook about the 7 thermonuclear tips on recruiting.
So I see they have a really handsome man on that page. Where's the other guy? They left him off this.
The handsome guy is at the bottom.
Oh, okay. I saw just that one handsome guy. I say, where's the other one?
Yeah. So you are greeting them, and I'm telling them goodbye here at the bottom.
Okay, just checking.
So this is free. This is free for everyone, and it's the best content we have. Both of the resources I mentioned, and with this you will get both the things. Just be sure that here you select your language, okay? Because if here is English, when you sign to the bootcamp, you will receive the bootcamp in English. And if here it says Spanish, then you will receive the bootcamp in Spanish. Just make sure that you are signing with the right language. And that's not all. We also have some amazing news for those of you who are serious about the business, but I will let my friend Randy Gage go on that.
All right. So this issue of the scams, we've always had hustlers and con people in the business, but the internet has just made it cray-cray, right? And the thing I think that's different now is we have trainers who are pitching MLM crypto scams. We have best-selling authors who are pitching MLM crypto scams. We have websites that get paid to pretend like they're a objective news reporting media outlet site, and they're promoting these scams, not just the MLM crypto ones, but other Ponzi schemes and just sucker operations. And they charge a monthly retainer to these leaders, and and they contact us all the time, right? They're like, hey, we can put you on the page, and hey, we could put you on the cover, and it's only this much money. And it's like, we'll list all of the people in your pyramid. And they'll say, like, remember when OneCoin was just ripping off everybody in the world? And you'd go to one of those websites and they would say, here's the top income earners in the world, and this person at OneCoin makes $3 million a month. And this number 2 person in OneCoin makes $2.5 million a month. And you bring new people in the business and they don't know any better. They're not sophisticated. And you can't compete with that, right? Because you're not supposed to be a millionaire in 3 months in this business, okay? It's a 2 to 4 year plan if you do the business right. Everyone you bring in the business, my best advice for you would be tell them, give me a 1 year commitment. Don't look left. Don't look right. Just focus for 1 year. And whatever money you make in this first year in the business, I want you to reinvest it back into the business. Build it with tools, events, self-development, and building long distance lines. That's where you should invest your money, and reinvest it in and pay down your debts. So we're fortunate. There is one annual event that happens every year called the Mastermind event. And this started way back in the day. Some of you guys will remember John Milton Fogg used to run this event. And he had a magazine called Upline, and the magazine got sold, and the events kind of fell by the wayside. And then Art Jonak started the event again, 15 years ago or something. I've been very blessed to be the opening keynote speech at every single year, and will be again. It's coming up in like less than a month from now. I'm doing a special master class with Jaime at that event. And that's out there, but that's the one we trust. That's the one you can send your team to. That's the one, right, that you can put your people there and know they're safe. There's a lot of events you can't. So we're going to take back the space. We're going to create, so this site that you just saw, duplicationnation.com, we're going to build that out and build that out and build that out. And it's going to have newsletters and blog and training and news and all kind of things, coaching, personal, video coaching. We're going to do all kind of stuff. And we're bringing in some really talented experts from the profession that we vet. Otherwise, you can't buy your way onto this. You can't say, well, if I bring 100 people to your event, will you put me on stage? Or, hey, if I pay you $20,000, would you put me on the cover of your magazine? None of that stuff. Okay, this is vetted stuff. So our first resource that we're so excited is going to be a monthly newsletter called MLM Confidential. It's written, volume 1. Issue 1 is done. We've written it. It's actually being laid out as we speak. It's probably going to hit people's email box in the next 3 or 4 days. And I believe this is going to be, you and your team, this is something, now this is a paid one. The MLM Bootcamp, there's no charge for that. That's going to come with a regular email newsletter. There's no charge for that. This one is for serious people who are investing in their business. All right. I think it's going to be the most impactful catalyst for the profession in the year 2023. I really do mean that. Because this is for you guys. This is for the good guys. This is how to train your team so they can defend themselves against the scams. So they understand, no, I'm not supposed to make $50,000 my second month in the business. If I make $392 the second month in the business, I'm doing amazing. If you're making $1,000 a year into the business, you're doing amazing. And by the way, look at where all these people are in the chats on like the YouTube and the Facebook pages. We have people in countries where $1,000 a month transforms their life. All you guys in the Philippines, all you guys in Peru, you guys in Mexico, Singapore. I mean, come on, somebody makes $1,000 a month, $1,500 US equivalent a month. You're transforming their lives, right? We do it step by step. We do it the right way, and we do it with integrity. So this newsletter is going to teach them that stuff. It's going to teach them the skill sets, and we're going to call out by name the scams. So every issue, there's 4 sections in here. First one is duplication discourse. It's just a learning lesson on how to have better duplication. Second thing you're going to find every month, at least one powerful leadership lesson, how you become a more empowering leader. The third thing you're going to see every month is what we call the dish. We're going to dish out the truth. I think I have, just so you know, volume 1, issue 1, the dish. Here's what's in this month's issue. You're going to learn something TikTok is doing that is really a big problem for people in our business. We're going to talk about Omega Pro. When I told you we're naming names, I mean we're naming names. Omega Pro is an MLM crypto scam. It should be avoided at all costs. And now they've just done something that's ridiculous and they're sucking people in with it. People think it's a legitimate thing. You're going to find out what the truth is about it. There's another deal we see getting a lot of traction in Australia, New Zealand. My friends down under, you guys in Europe are seeing it. It's the Validus token. It's basically the brainchild of some of the criminals from the OneCoin. You're going to learn about that and the blockchain that they claim they're on and what some of the issues with that are. And then our old friend from Platin World is out with another scam token. We reveal that. And you're going to find out what happened with the co-founder of OneCoin, with Ruya, the crypto queen. He was just sentenced. He just pled guilty in Manhattan federal court. So that's the kind of stuff you're going to learn in this. That's issue one. And then the other thing you're going to see every issue is a challenge. Like I said, we give you homework. We give you assignments, okay? So we're creating a challenge every month. So this newsletter is not for everyone. I'm telling you right now, it's $147 a year is the special charter offer we're going to make. The normal price is $200. We're doing charter subscriptions for a year for $147. If you become a charter subscriber, you will get that price forever. No matter what it goes up to, you can renew at that price as long as you stay a subscriber. And of course, you can cancel your subscription at any time. Why I say this can be such a catalyst for the year is you can use this to build out your lesson plans, build out your training. You can use this to create the agenda for your events. Now, I'm gonna do the same thing Jaime did. I'm gonna share my screen. Okay, so here's that Duplication Nation site that you looked at earlier. And remember, pick which language you want down here. Inglés or Español. I don't know why it's not, there we go. So pick the language you want. And then MLM Confidential, this one in the middle here, this is the one, you click that, and then will produce the whole, at least I hope so. I don't know what's going on with my internet right now. The sales letter page.
It's not your internet. It's that we have 8,000 people trying to join the web at the same time.
Okay. All right. So then you'll see MLM Confidential, and then this will explain the whole thing, those sections I just told you about, and then you subscribe, right? And, just take a look at some of the leaders you see down here that are talking about what you get out of this. These are who's who people in our profession that can tell you, hey, when you get something from Jaime and Randy, you're getting the real deal, okay? We're really proud of the reputation we have, the content we're providing. This is the real deal. So $147 is the charter price. And here's the deal. If you register before noon tomorrow, so you guys can do it right now, but for your team members, if they get their charter subscription before noon tomorrow, they're going to get a special, what we're calling office hours. So next Monday at 1600 Eastern time, I'm going to do office hours in English for an hour, just taking your questions, advice you want in the business. I'll have some comments, probably 5 minutes to open it up, but really I'm just there to answer your questions. And then on Tuesday, also 1600 Eastern time, Jaime will be doing the office hours in Spanish. And where they're going to be, by the way, another kind of thing you're going to get out of this subscription is we've created a private Facebook group just for subscribers of MLM Confidential. That's where we're going to do the office hours. So you're going to that's where we can post additional comments, additional training. And when something happens, some new crypto scam or something, we can put an update there. And we're also created a private Telegram group just for the subscribers. So I think it can be the most important tool for growing your business this year, because you really will learn duplication. You'll be able to integrate it down your team. And most importantly, You're going to train your team. They're going to learn the skill sets. They're going to learn what the path to leadership looks like, and it will protect them against the parasites and the con artists who are, just dangerous to your business. All right, but we don't just let you go for nothing. You got to do some assignments. So we're going to give you 5 assignments. Jaime, you want to start that?
Just let me jump in before the assignments. Some people are writing on the chat that they are not being able to enter the web page, or they are in, but they can join the place where it's MLM Confidential. The page works. Everything you saw works, but we have 8,000 people trying to join everything at the same time. So if you can't access, reload, or wait 1 minute, and in 1 minute reload, and it will work. Okay, just please be patient, and that's about it. So the first action step we want to give you is that you take inventory of the tools you already have in your pathway. Sometimes you already have tools that you are not using. So with all the information you listened from Randy, you go one by one and you check with your upline if you already have tools for each and every one of the steps of that candidate pathway.
All right, second assignment, lock in your charter subscription before noon tomorrow. And that takes you to assignment number 3, which is be on the office hours, because that's a big benefit. You get an hour worth of, masterminding with some brilliant people and being able to get your questions answered by Jaime and myself. So Monday, I'll be doing English. Tuesday, Jaime will be doing Spanish. But you got to get the subscription by noon to get the, and then you'll get the membership. You'll get an invite to the Facebook group and an invite to the Telegram channel. So make sure, and the other thing I should say is make sure you read issue 1 before you come to the office hours, because you'll have a lot better information. You'll get more out of that. What's their number 4 and number 5?
So number 4 is sign up for the free MLM bootcamp, which will automatically give you also the free ebook about recruiting tips. And be sure to also read the first chapter of the bootcamp, okay? As soon as you sign to the bootcamp, you will receive the first module, and be sure to read that also before the office hours. We are doing Randy on Monday. I'm doing it on Tuesday, so we can talk about it. And number 5, follow the Duplication Nation social media accounts, which those of you who are speaking English, if you are watching this on YouTube, that's our channel. But if you are not there and you want to follow us on YouTube, it's at Duplication Nation with 2 N's, because I see that on the chat, many people only use 1 N, Duplication Nation, like if it was one word, okay? But it's with 2 N's, at Duplication Nation. And the same on Instagram. You can follow us on Instagram, and we will have amazing content for you over the years. So it's also at Duplication Nation. Please be sure to be with us. We're going to do amazing things together.
Guys, I will never forget the moment Baxter walked into my jail cell and shared those words with me. I feel like it's my responsibility to honor him by living a good life. Like I said, I was an alcoholic, drug addict, armed robbery, burglary, horrible choices, but I got a second chance. I had a public defender who believed in me. I had friends and family who believed in me, and I had a judge who gave me a chance and said, we're going to give you probation. We're going to give you another chance. You can still turn your life around. You're young enough to do that. And I was able to do that. And I feel like a responsibility to pay it forward ever since. Jaime and I have been working together for 15 plus years. I know he has the same kind of philosophy. He's been really blessed by some amazing people in his life, and we feel moved, driven to take this profession back. You know, when I just felt like, hey, I'm going to go into the bigger space. I want to work with all entrepreneurs. I wrote the book, Risky is the New Safe. It became a New York Times bestseller, Wall Street Journal bestseller, USA Today #1 money book, number 4 or 5 on Publishers Weekly. And then I wrote Mad Genius. And I felt like, okay, I've done my work in the network marketing. I've created my legacy. But what I've seen happening the last few years, I'm like, no, we got to go back and clean that up. So this is our gift to you, duplicationnation.com. You're on, if you signed up for that free boot camp and then easing, you're going to hear, we're going to be doing more of these things. We're going to offer a lot of free resources, and then we'll have stuff for people who want to do the deep dive stuff. So we believe in you the way people believed in us, and we want you to be successful with it, and that's why we're here tonight. Anything you would add, Mr. Lokier, before we say goodnight to all these lovely people?
Only that I'm really excited because I know that every person here feels the same about us, and they feel the same about the people that are doing so much bad stuff to the industry, and they feel the same about how we are changing lives and how we can have the best tool to help people right now, that the world really needs something like what all of us are doing. So when I think about this project, I never feel about it as the project of Randy and Jaime. I feel this like the project of the people that are doing network marketing the right way. We are doing this together, and that it makes me very excited about it.
All right, everybody, thank you for watching. You'll be able to watch the replay as soon as we are done. So you need to get in the WhatsApp group, the Telegram groups, the Signal groups, the email chains, and get your team watching that. And if they want to get the newsletter and be in the office hours, make sure they get a subscription before noon tomorrow. Thanks, everybody. Peace, love, and unicorns.
Bye.